back with Mark. Hello. I think we spoke off air, Mark. I was expecting some team news for Sunday's game, and we've had a lot happen over the last few days. Is it fair to say, Mark, or maybe you might have a different opinion, are we overreacting after one practice match? All of a sudden, members, supporters, they want the president gone, they want the coach gone, maybe 20 players delisted now. Are we overreacting, Mark?
20 players delisted. That's how we started like 6 years ago, was it? Well, no, it was 2020 that happened.
Yeah, it was about
And look,
12, I think.
yeah, and but there was a reason for it then. It'd be pretty horrendous if that happened now. I don't know, I think we've got more talent on the list clearly than sitting in that situation. But overreaction. Back to your question, like normally I would say absolutely. It's a huge overreaction. This is insanity. It wasn't even a proper practice match last week. It was a practice match. It was just a bit of match simulation, but it just came on the back of 2 weeks of the media hounding Clarkson about how much pressure he's under, and Caroline Wilson and Corns are saying he's going to be gone before the season's over. And then the response is sort of to come out and look insipid and lose by 80 points, albeit in a match sim game. So, and it just reminded everyone of what had happened the previous 6 years. And it was the same stuff. We talked about it the other day. It was the same stuff. No defence, no team defence, lack of energy in terms of pressuring the other side, all that sort of stuff. In comparison to who we were playing Melbourne. And now, look, I know Melbourne were playing under a new coach and they had reasons to, want to prove themselves to him and everything else. But it's not like we're coming off a finals campaign and we're just easing our way in. We've got to, we've got to sell memberships. We've got to get people to the first round. We've got to create some momentum. So it is an overreaction, but it's not that big an overreaction. And if they lose, if you want to see a really bad overreaction, watch what happens if we lose by 80 points this weekend.
I was just thinking that off air, actually. I was just thinking, have you seen such an importance into a game like
No,
a practice match as it
never.
is for this Sunday? I feel like the
Never.
club is under a lot of pressure, and we're going to talk more about things that have
Mm.
happened over the last few days. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a long. I can't remember anything like this going into a practice match on a Sunday. There's got to be a response to losing last week, because it seems like a lot of supporters on the fence here, and maybe half of them are already expecting a bad year.
Yeah, well, I think that just the intra club game wasn't there weren't fantastic signs in that
No,
either.
no, it's terrible.
So that didn't feel, people were sort of going, oh, maybe it's just it's just an intra club. Let's not worry about it. Let's see what happens when they play against opposition. And then of course we see that and
Yeah.
it sort of backed up what everyone saw on the intra club. And then of course you've got this has all been compounded by people like me whining that Trembath didn't play last week, and I was very upset about it. And equally angry that Wardlaw played in the VFL 2 weeks after, I don't care what, hamstring awareness, a slight tear, whatever, like when there was just absolutely no benefit in rushing him back. It was just a bizarre thing to have done. It feels like in hindsight, certainly. So, yeah, so all that's created this, one, they had to answer. I mean, it's very unusual that Larky was made to answer questions about Trembath, and the reporters were saying your supporters are very upset that he wasn't playing. What's going on? And he's sort of saying, oh, it's close. It's sort of, having to defend that at this point in the season is bizarre in itself. So, and then Clarko was very defensive about Wardlaw. So they're absolutely under siege. No, I haven't seen it before. I was around when Shimmer got sacked.
I was just about to mention that.
In
This
90
reminds me a lot of
93,
yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah,
So
93.
in the pre-season, we got beat by over 100 points in a pre-season game, and that
It was
was the final
147
straw.
points that game. Yeah,
And it's not like he wasn't a big figure at the club. He's one of the
Club legend.
biggest ever. He's an absolute legend. I've probably, certainly my top couple of favourite ever players. So, so that was very sad when that happened, but it certainly had an immediate effect. Now, I don't think anything like that's going to happen, even if we lose by 100 points to Collingwood, which would be catastrophic in terms of pressure on the club. And Sonia Hood's then going to have to deal with angry supporter base with ex-players involved. No doubt Mark Dawson potentially is one of the people involved in this again. So who knows? But he's been quick in the past to jump up and get a bit frustrated by what's been happening. So I wouldn't be surprised if that group's involved again. So, and they basically now publicly have said to Sam Edmund, if they start badly, it's going to get turned nasty. So that immediately creates even more pressure on the supporter base is already angry, and then they get validated by something like that. So it's 100%. I've never seen anything like this before.
There's a lot to go through, Mark. There's a lot to dissect. We'll go back to Clarko. Now, you did an interview on the AFL website, and they asked him about Wardlaw. Now, I can't believe a coach would actually say this. He actually came out and said to George Wardlaw, and he was told to take it easy because you're playing a VFL game. I've never heard of a coach ever say that, and I don't think they're the standards that you want to be sending to your players. I just take it easy. It's a VFL game. Don't go too hard.
I think he sort of said ease your way into it rather
but still,
than.
that could. Yeah, I mean,
well, then don't play.
That.
If he's having to ease his way into it, why are you risking him at all? It's like Wardlaw said, "Well, I want to play."
I find it really strange there, Mark, that you would even use the term ease as far as a game. Like, you got to take every game seriously. These guys are paid professionals. George Wardlaw only knows one way. I think they've got to focus, and I don't know if you agree with me, Mark, but whether he did his hamstring or not, there's an issue there. And they keep deflecting. It's just a minor issue. There's something wrong with his technique when he's running. He keeps doing it. Now, we're no strangers to running. We've run before. We've run marathons and so forth.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying we're an expert with running, but his technique is quite poor. He's hunched over. He looks like he puts a lot of pressure on his tendons when he's running, and they've never talked about fixing that. This is going to be an issue that's going to keep happening, Mark. And he goes head first into every contest, so he's going to be prone to concussions. They've got to work with him with that, and I just find it strange that they're just deflecting and saying, it's just a minor issue. It's just a minor hamstring. Well, he's fine. He'll be right in a couple of weeks.
Until he does it again.
Yeah, exactly. And he's going to do it again, Mark. There's no doubt about that. You can't just keep if he's doing it 2 weeks after a minor issue, and then they've sort of said, it's just a minor issue again. He'll be right. And then all of a sudden, it's 3 or 4 weeks. I think they've got to work on getting the technique right, and maybe that's got to be the message. Sort of say, look, we're working with him. We know he's got flaws. His running's not great, or something like that. Because at the moment, this is just going to be a continued issue, and he's going to be an injury-prone player, and we're never going to see the best of him, Mark.
Yeah, I think you've hit on something really important there about actually changing his running technique, or possibly they're working on that already. Well, I have no idea, but
there's no proof of that. Have you seen?
No, there is no proof of it. I agree, and the other issue is this is becoming a psychological problem for him. Until it starts, just telling him to take it easy is not going to help him at all. That's not going to do anything. They've got to get his work out. All right, whether they have to go overseas, they've got to find out. All right, what is causing the problem, and what is the answer? And even if it meant him not playing for 3 months or whatever, I wouldn't care, as long as they gave the guy a long-term option to be able to stay injury-free. And he probably needs to change his... And the head first thing's absolutely another one that has to change as well. Because he's only 2 or 3 head knocks away from being it as well. So there's a few things there to sort out. And it doesn't seem like they have. Because he also in that interview went back to say, he's going to play the way he's going to play. It's like, well, yeah, and just saying something to take it easy is not. That's just vague. That's just vague. Like, that doesn't mean anything. It's pull out a what does he mean? Pull out a contest? Don't sprint? Like, what exactly does it mean? Don't put your head over the ball. Like, that's something very amateurish, that answer, that response around Woodley. He would have been better off saying, look, we don't want to discuss it. I would have preferred that, to be honest,
Yeah,
than the answers.
I'd rather you didn't do the interview. Yeah, 100%.
We know what we're doing. Mind your own business. That would be better than hearing that and losing all confidence in what they're doing. And he's saying, oh, everyone's smart in hindsight. Well, I don't know if you need a lot of hindsight to be thinking that after 2 weeks after him doing a hammy, that he shouldn't be out in the ground in a VFL game in pre-season when there's a full season ahead of us. So that in itself was bizarre. And then, you've gone on to a far more broader issue, but probably the more important one is, well, what's actually being done long-term to get this right? Because, as you said, there's no evidence. So, yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't actually thought about the bigger picture of his running technique and what's causing these injuries, and actually what are they doing about that. But you're dead right. That is something that's a worry that's not being looked at.
I remember that Cyril Rioli, in his first couple of years, did a lot of hamstring issues. And they did a documentary or something, Hawthorn, and they went through and they did video. They had a video guy, went through his running technique and sort of said he's got to fix it here. And and all of a sudden he stopped having hamstring issues. I just don't think we're doing that with George Wardlaw.
Well, Clarkson was there then, so...
Yeah, and that's what I find even more bizarre, that they haven't got this guy in. And I'm kind of losing a bit of faith in this fitness guy that keeps talking about injuries. I don't know how much of a background he has in AFL football. He seems to talk well, but...
this is the Irishman, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, he wouldn't have a great background in AFL.
No, well, I don't know what it is. So, and I'm a bit concerned that, he's...
I don't know.
He doesn't have a... Yeah, go on.
No, I was just going to say, where have we got... Where do we have confidence? List management, coaching?
I mean, the list goes on and on, unfortunately, Mark. And, that's something they're going to have to work out because, we can't just keep... getting George Wardlaw to have soft tissue injuries or concussions and think, oh, well, no, it's all right. That's just how he plays. That's a wishy-washy answer. It's not good enough. And a lot of people are unhappy, the supporters and members, and they've got a right to be with Alistair Clarkson. He's already backtracked, sort of saying, a few weeks ago, we're in line for finals, and now all of a sudden, we just want to be better each day. I'm really finding his messaging very mixed at the moment, Mark, and I don't know at the moment. I'm hoping he can turn it around. I really am, but I'm kind of losing a little bit of faith right now.
Yeah, he doesn't want to turn up to a press conference and say we know where we're at. I don't want to hear that again.
Well,
that went on for 20 weeks. Well, it's for last 2 full seasons.
If his name wasn't Alistair Clarkson, Mark, would he have a job? Considering David Noble was sacked for...
there's almost no chance.
Yeah. So,
that's the reality. Well, but if it wasn't Alex Clarkson, they probably wouldn't have given him a 5-year deal. It would have been a 3-year deal, and he'd be gone.
Yeah, exactly. So, look,
a
lot of things have happened over the last few years with him and so forth.
I mean, look, we've said this before as well. The last thing I want for the club is more destabilisation, changing of coaches, changing of anyone. Todd Viney, Clarkson, list management, Sonia Hood. None of that will be good. Like, it might feel good in the moment. Oh, good, there's massive change happening. I can hear it in the supporters, members' comments in social media. Finally, this is after the Sam Edmonds story. Finally, there's going to be change. But it's a short term. It's a bit of a sugar hit. Okay, there's change. Everything's going to be okay. But I mean, how much change has Carlton had since Dennis Pagan was there? And they've had 1 year where they made that prelim, but virtually nothing else for 20 odd years. So you've got to be careful what you wish for. Richmond went through this. They nearly sacked Damien Hardwick. Now, I'm not saying we're on the verge of 3 flags, by the way, but they nearly sacked Damien, and that was a close call with Hardwick to keep going with him or not. It was right to the line with him. And same thing. He had a lot of talented players, obviously, on that list, and they just stagnated. They went up and down, made a final, out. And this, he was probably there for 7 years before 2017. I think even longer, maybe. So it was very tight. So it's not easy to keep going, because if you keep going too long and nothing changes, well, it's a nightmare. So, they've got to decide: is this Mick Malthouse at Carlton, or is it is it the Richmond situation of 2017 with Dimmer? I know what I'm hoping it is, but at the moment it's not. It's hard to be confident. We're not. We just, like, I was confident last year twice, when we beat Melbourne in round 2, and when we beat Carlton at the MCG, because I thought, physically, I thought the way the players approached that Carlton game was going to be the baseline of how they're going to play going forward. With that type of aggression at the man and pressure, and they were really great defensively that day, and they were, and then they were able to turn the ball over and tack through the middle of the ground, and then never saw that really for the rest of the season again. So I want to see something similar to that. Maybe not the result. I'm not so worried about whether we win or not this weekend, but you want to see something that the players are desperate. They're playing for the coach. They're playing for pride. They understand the situation. It's not really about whether this is a practice match or not. It's more about understanding. If they really know where they're at, they'll show it this week. Because Collingwood don't have the same reason to play, as well this week, or have the same level of motivation. But we absolutely do. If the players care about Clarkson, they'd want to take some pressure off him.
Unless he tells them to take it easy, Mark.
Yeah, well, I wonder if he. Maybe he did that last week. Maybe the whole side was told that. I don't think he'd be saying that this week somehow.
No, look, we'll talk about team news soon, even though there isn't much at the moment. But there's also prominent members meeting with the board come out during the week. They've come out and said they want change at board level. Sonia Hood has come out and said we need stability because this club has had a lot of instability over the years. It sounds like a president that's is under a little bit of pressure. They always say the same thing, that we need stability. We need stability. Where do you sit with it all? Does she need more scrutiny now with how poor we have been for such a long time on field?
Yeah, I do agree with the supporters that are going about time in the sense that I'm glad they are going to have pressure on them. It can't just be another season of we know where we're at, everything's fine, don't worry about it. Everyone's enjoying coming into the club every day. Everyone's best mates. I don't think any supporters want to hear that again this year. They're not going to tolerate it. I think Sonia understands that it's not going to be tolerated by anyone if it's another year like the last 6 years. It's just not going to wash anymore. There has to be serious level of improvement on field. It's interesting. Corns sort of was saying this morning. It's got to be the worst case scenario has got to be 3-3 after round 6, or Clarkson's in massive trouble. I'd be pretty happy with 3-3, to be honest. At least at least it would have steadied the ship. But I think that's probably right. If we're 1-5, I think things are going to happen. I don't think it'll just cruise through from there. If we have another disastrous start to the year, I think the pressure's going to be like Clarkson's been left alone for 3 years by the media, apart from obviously the Hawthorn disaster, racism debacle. But the last 2 years, in terms of on-field performance, they've been left alone. Right? It hasn't really been any real pressure, but that's completely changed now. And look, in terms of that meeting with Sonia Hood, I don't really see. I mean, it was more like a threat. You either do, like, what's the point of? I don't really see any point of board changes now. What's that going to do? Nothing. It's not going to. What's those board members going to do? Force Clarkson to coach a different way? Like, it's really just down to wins and losses. That's the bottom line. They win games, everyone's happy, they'll back off. They lose games, the pressure's come from everywhere. Simple as that.
Do you think there's a disconnect between members and the board at the moment? There seems to be a bit of a gap there, and that's why the members are probably having a voice at the moment, sort of saying, look, there's too much of a gap here. Because, yeah, look, I
Yeah.
mean, at the
What
end
is
of the
the
day,
gap though? What's the gap?
well, they don't seem to really communicate when things are, going when things aren't going well on the field with the men's
We do
program. I
hide a
think,
bit. Yeah.
yeah, they seem to go and hide a bit, and they keep
Mm,
telling us that everything's okay. It's
yeah.
pretty much like that dying
And then we
person
get a
that's got
letter.
cancer.
We get a letter from members to the members every now and again
Well,
saying,
that's
"Yep, I know
twice a
things
year,
aren't."
yeah,
Yeah, you just get this thing. I know things are terrible, but don't worry, it'll be all okay. And the
yeah.
women's team's doing well, which is, the women's team has been sensational. I think that
Oh,
probably
100%.
creates even more frustration. Um, but then you also got a lot of the members. Some of that disconnect is getting fed up with what you would call is this, which has really got nothing to do with the footy, and I don't really think it has a negative effect on the footy, but the social stuff. Um, Getting involved in the club, being putting forward their social position, their moral position on social issues, that tends to rile up a lot of
Yeah, it
supporters as
does.
well. They just say, "Would you just shut up and win some games?" sort of thing.
Yeah,
Like,
and that's the thing. You got to
don't
cause a
give me
ruckus.
your moral views, please. I just want you to win a game of footy for once. So that just makes it, that adds to it all. I personally don't think that really has any negative effect on the footy department. I just think it's part of the frustration.
And a lot of things she has, Sonia Hood and Jen Watt, they haven't been in control of. Like, it's not their fault that
Mm.
Taryn Thomas had off-field issues. A really key player, Jason Lafrance, wants to leave after a year. I
Yeah.
think we did everything we could to try and make him feel comfortable and at
Oh,
home.
I don't think.
Well,
Yeah, I don't blame anyone for that. I mean, Tarrant Thomas thing's a tragedy because he's just coming into the peak of his powers, like as a player. We should be having. He should be a dominant force right now in the AFL. Whether he's going to play off half back, running and delivering the ball, or out of the middle, he would have been a fantastic player to have in the side. But
and
you
we
know,
gave him every opportunity to
you
get
can't
better.
control his behaviour. That's like he had every chance to fix it too, and made no attempt. So unfortunately, no point for looking backwards on that. But yeah, that hurt. That definitely hurt.
And at the time, we all wanted Alistair Clarkson. We thought he was going to come and save the club too,
Oh
mate.
God, yeah.
So, yeah, look, that was the no-brainer decision. Yeah, if he was available and he wants to come, yeah, you just
Mm.
pay whatever you wanted to him. It was an open checkbook. Yeah, come, please save us. And that, at the moment, we're certainly hoping he can turn around. But at the time, it was the right decision. She's had her own health issues as well, Sonia Hood. She's had a battle with cancer.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
And
I mean, the other thing is the racism saga obviously also had an unfortunate, like, psychological effect on Clarkson as well. Because you look at Ross Lyon, and you look at Dimatina, Dimmer, um, and to me, they haven't lost that hard
hard edge, yeah.
edge, that real edge. That it's like they've got a good relationship with their players, but there's an edge to them where you'd feel like you do what the team thing is, or you're not playing, you're out. Like we'll get rid of you, sort of thing. I mean, look, Ross Lyon's teams have always been good like that, but he's got that from St Kilda. And I mean, Gold Coast, first year in, his second year in, he's got them playing finals. He's got an amazing list, by the way. So I'm not saying he's doing it tough in terms of playing list, but he's got them playing a certain way now that he demands, and you can tell that he's still got that edge about him. I don't know with Clarko if that's the case. I literally don't know. I'm not saying he doesn't or he does, but it's not as obvious as with those two. That's for sure. And it doesn't feel like there's much repercussions for the players if they don't. If they're not great defensively, it doesn't feel like there's much that it's just all we ever hear is how much fun they're having, Rocky. And I want them to be close and all of those sorts of things, and I want it to be a great culture, but I want it to be a great culture with some understanding, though, that because we've heard all summer about the players holding each other's standards up higher and all this sort of thing, but then you see the first game and then albeit a practice match. Yeah, and there was no sign of it. So maybe that was an aberration and everyone's going to look back on that game and go, God, boy, did they overreact. And I hope that is the case. Maybe they'll be shocked and think actually they're probably realising that we don't have the luxury of treating practice games like practice games. We'll certainly know by Sunday, Arvo.
And the message has got to be clear that this is the time to set the standards.
Yeah.
And there's no better time to do it than this Sunday. I don't know who.
Well, the line is in the sand now.
Yeah, and look, they're under scrutiny. And they've got to perform this week, even though it is a practice match. You can't just sit sort of.
Well, it's a sold-out game, so there'll be a decent crowd there as well.
Jesus, sold-out game for a practice match. That's not a bad effort, but yeah, obviously.
Well, against if you're going to play Collingwood, that's always a potential.
Yeah, of course. But we'll have to see what the response is. But so far, yeah, we're in a we haven't shown exactly the right signs from last week. So we'll definitely see how they perform this week. But another bit of news that came into the club the last few days. Tom Blamires comes onto the senior list. Might get more of an idea this weekend of what sort of a player he's, Mark. I didn't see too much of him in the second half last week. Came on for Riley Hardiman. But apparently highly rated from Frankston. They've got a good history of bringing players through, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the spiral we're going down. I'm not going to put too much expectation on an SSP player, Mark.
I'm putting none. I mean, we've got.
I thought I was negative.
Yeah, sorry, but no, I don't mean that neither. I just haven't seen enough of him.
No, of course.
And he hasn't even had an AFL pre-season. He's sort of coming at the end of the pre. He looks very fit, by the way. So he's someone who looks after himself, and he's done a great job to keep at it the way he has. And he was obviously outstanding in the VFL last year. He's clearly already loved at the club because of the reaction he got when he got that spot. So he's obviously a good person. He'll be a good person to have around the club. He'll play a role if he's needed to. And with Archer out for the year, he's probably, and Hardiman's, touch and go. He's probably not going to be far away from getting a game. I think Go to play in the VFL last week, which is a good sign.
Until he does a soft tissue injury.
Don't say that, please.
Yeah, he's got a history as well.
Oh God, yeah. Well, a ruptured Achilles is a nightmare.
Yeah, and I think
come back from, but
that's a 2-year injury generally.
It is.
When they come back, they usually do soft tissue injuries.
Yeah, the calves go non-stop and hammies anyway. But hopefully he has a bit of luck because the poor guy's had a terrible run. Between him and George, they haven't had a lot of luck.
Yeah, another player that seems to do a lot of soft tissue injuries. So I mean, what do you like? Just going back around in circles here, Mark. But who should be under more scrutiny here? Now we've talked about the list. Manager and playing half forwards, half back, half forwards, wingers through back pockets in a ruck or whatever they want to put them in because it's an imbalanced list.
That's just made me angry because you've reminded me of how many small half forwards we've got again, all being shoved down the back line now because the list is so out of whack in terms of balance. So there's your answer. That's who I think should be under the most scrutiny.
What about the performance team? I mean, I think they're probably just under just as much scrutiny. Braden George hasn't been able to get himself fit, getting soft tissue injuries. We've had George Wardlaw, a lot of issues there. They don't seem to be fixing it. That's two people. You got the coaches. There might be a big clean out in the next 6 months, Mark, and we might not have anyone left at the club.
Well, I mean. Yeah, I honestly think if there's going to be serious change, it is likely to be. Well, Sonia will go with Clarko, I would have thought, because she brought him in. Not that you can blame her for bringing him in, but
of course not.
I think she probably would make that decision herself. And I think Todd Viney will definitely go with Clarko if that was the case. So you're talking about a lot of change there, and then I think there'd likely to be performance and list management. So it would be a full clean out. So the pressure's everywhere, unfortunately, and that's what. Look, it's just about when you're losing, everything gets looked at. Like if there's injuries and you're sort of coming third or fourth, or you're a Brisbane. If you had a lot of injuries and they cover for them, no one even notices. But when you're losing games, you're looking everywhere to try and work out what's causing it. So it makes you vulnerable if you're in an organisation that's about high performance and elite sport. Then I mean, look at the UK. Look at Premier League. There, you've got a 6-week window to play well, or you get sacked. As a coach, I should say. So it's just
you lose 3 in a row, you're gone.
Yeah, well, that's right. So and look at Clarko; he's into his 4th year. So I know she says there's been no stability. There's been a bit of stability. We just haven't improved. So at some point, the stability's got to equal improvement, or it's time to change. Unfortunately, you do have to destabilise things because you need a circuit breaker. So I'm far from. I'm desperate for us to avoid that. I'd love us to come out and just have a great next 5 or 6 weeks, just for the supporters, just to have some joy. After so much frustration and everyone, as you said, everyone's sort of looking at this going, oh my God, not another year. Here we go again. Once you get into that feeling, it's very hard. You start to believe the media, because the media talk like North will never get out of this when you hear them speak. And I thought, they're just being naive, thinking our players won't come on. And I honestly believed the tipping point had come and this was going to be this year. So I was horrified by last week because I just thought, I'm not about the loss. I couldn't have cared. If we'd lost by 25 points or something, I just wouldn't have batted an eyelid. It was just the way it happened. It's just, and the week prior not looking right either in the intra-club game. They didn't look switched on then. The fact Whitlock was kicking 5 goals so easily in that game, and I don't know, there was no. They've talked about defence all summer, so I do find it odd that they've gone through 2 games with very little sign of it. Unless they've just sort of held that back for a few weeks, I don't know. It'd be a very odd thing to do, though. Why would you not practice it against opposition? It doesn't make sense. So
I don't think that's the case.
I've given up thinking there's some. Last week I was saying to you that hopefully they've been on a heavy training load, which apparently they have.
We're trying to find excuses for it.
Yeah, desperately looking for something to cover up than the pain. It's just this week will be very, very interesting. Just in terms of the intensity, whether the players make mistakes and stuff. That's another thing, but at least the pressure and the ball movement, they've got to be moved fast. Like if they're going to get it wrong going quick. Don't get it wrong kicking to the pockets and going down the boundary line. Like we can't be that style of footy's gone. Like we can't be going back to that.
Even trying to defend the ground. Get it inside 50 and they just walk it out and go to the outside of the ground. It was some pretty poor viewing. But speaking of list management, now there's Jackson Archer is in contract talks for an extension till 2028. I don't know if we need to rush to re-sign him, do we, Mark? I mean,
till the end of 2028, was it?
Yeah. So I don't know if we need to rush to with this and make this a priority, do we? Like I don't think he's going to go anywhere. Like no club's going to come in and say we're going to offer him 6 years.
No, I suppose if you're going to show faith in someone who's coming back from an ACL, they probably need 2 seasons. Giving them 1 year coming off the back of the ACL is probably not going to. I
think it'd be enough. I think you could get him to 2027.
Yeah. I don't look. 2 years doesn't bother me too much. I'm a big believer in him, so I'm not too bothered. If he didn't have his name, would he get 2 years?
Geez, that's a good question. I didn't even think of that, but probably not.
No, it's funny, isn't it?
That's probably a little bit harsh, but
yeah. I love him as a player and the way he goes about. So I don't mind him getting the 2 years. He reminds me of his dad a lot. But look, if it was 3, I'd certainly say that's madness. But two, I don't mind because it's hard coming back from an ACL. But that said, if it was George, did they give George just the extra year? I can't remember.
Brady.
No, Brady.
I think he's out of contract this year. So
yeah.
They gave him 2 years.
Yeah, they gave him. They've looked after him pretty well. I mean, I think he's got to come good this year at some point to get extended. It'd be very sad if this was his last year in the system. So I really do hope he has some luck. almost as much as I'm hoping Trembath gets picked pretty quickly in the seniors. That's another thing that's driving me mad. I mean, it's not even the main season yet, so there's plenty of time for Trembath to come into the side. But given his start to his career and apparently the way he's played through the preseason and the way he looked in the intra-club match and the way he looked in the VFL apparently last week, how is he not the future? And if he is the future, why would you hold him back, keep him in the VFL when, as hard a worker as Jack Darling is, he's not playing in any. If we ever have a future flag, he won't be playing in it. But Trembath might be. He's a chance at least. Like, I don't understand. To me, that goes to the desperation at the moment a little bit, rather than just take a bit of a risk on a young guy who's got super talent and has got X factor and can make things happen. I'm like, if they can't find a place for him, and he's huge leap, he can pinch hit in the ruck. So it just doesn't make any sense to me how that's been happening the last few weeks. But it just seems to go to the confusion that's going on around the place at the moment. There's some of that decision making. It's going to be interesting to see the side they pick for round one.
Yeah, well, we don't even have the side for Sunday, which is a bit surprising. I think we might have talked about this before, that they haven't. There's no team news, but it looks like Cooper Trembath will be in the seconds. He did train with the B team today, so yeah, unfortunately he's missed out. It looks like he's going to miss out, but I couldn't agree with you more, Mark. I mean, you've got a 34-year-old Jack Darling. What are you trying to achieve here? Yeah, I think supporters would be more lenient if you're playing the kids and you're giving Trembath more game time. And a few others.
Well, if Trembath's not in, then Whitlock should be. Like, either way, you start, and Dawson, like,
yeah,
you've got to start. Like, if you're going to start getting done by in these games, to let it happen with the kids. Like, let's not be playing guys. Darling last year, okay, I'll cop that because Larky needed someone to take the heat off him. But now you've got both Trembath and Whitlock looking like they can do that themselves. Certainly Trembath, he's a big boy, so it's not like Whitlock, you can argue, needs 5 kilos, right? He's developed, he's got stronger, but you could argue that if you wanted to, and maybe that's fair. But Trembath, no, he must weigh about 98 kilos now. He's huge, and he's proven he hasn't played a bad quarter yet, let alone a bad game. The guy's been fantastic, and he's got a pre-season under his belt. But you'll bring it. I've no doubt, who's the guy we brought, the half forward, another half forward that we brought in from Melbourne?
Oh, Charlie Spargo.
Yeah, he'll be straight in.
Yeah.
It's very confusing the way they think at the moment. Like Will Dawson, like how he needs to, because if an injury happens, he's straight in the side, so he should be playing. Like last week,
he should be playing now, Mark. I mean, you might as well develop him. This is a good opportunity to get 10, 15 games into these kids this year, which is huge for their development, rather than just keeping them in reserves so they can play.
It's like we're sticking with the old guys because we're like so desperate not to get blown out of the water. We think that will help our chances or something. I don't know. It just seems like there's it doesn't send a message of confidence. That they're sticking with these old guys. They're not taking any risk from that perspective. And then they're happy to risk Wardlaw in the VFL because they think they can't win if they don't get him back in the side. That's what that feels like. So yeah, it's just odd. It's odd. It's a bit of a worry. 3 weeks to go. But as you said right from the start, are we massively overreacting after one match sim game? So we could be talking in a week and going, "Oh, what were we worried about?"
No, I don't think it'll be a week.
No. Well, that's the I agree with what David King and Corn said this morning on radio, that it's round 6, but that's the time. Like, unless we just get blown out of the water the next 4 weeks, 4 games, then won't need to wait till round 6 to know where we're heading. But round 6 will give us a pretty good idea of where, if we're improving, if things have changed or not. If it's 3-3, but the signs are good and we're competitive in the other 3 games, I'm not going to be too concerned. But yeah, if we're 1-5 and it's just a repeat, then yeah, at that point I will lose all confidence in the current administration, and footy department to take us forward.
Well, even 3-3, I think it'll quickly turn to 3-9, Mark, because this next.
Yeah, well, that won't be great, but at least
Yeah.
they're into the season and they've got some wins on the board, so they can, if they can. And you're right though, they'll have to keep growing from there. They won't be able to stagnate at that level. If they're 3-3, you'd want them to be, then going to another level and being competitive against better sides. But yeah. You're probably right. Corns is probably right. I hate to say that, but 3-3 is the absolute worst. Has to be the worst case scenario.
No, the first 6 weeks are fairly easy. Not fairly easy, but as easy as a schedule as you can get. So, and generally in the past we've always had a tough first 4 to 6 rounds.
We have.
It's put us behind the 8 ball. And we've struggled to recover from that. And now this year, we've really got to start ahead. And look, with all the scrutiny that's on at the club in the media at the moment, there's no better time to start now, to be honest with you, Mark. So we'll have to wait and see. There is no team news, but there's a lot of people panicking about Tristan Sherry already, Mark. Now, people are saying, well, let's play Cooper Trenbath in the ruck. But it's still early days, and worst case scenario, you could just put him centre half forward for the centre bounce, and you can put Trenbath in the ruck because he's got the bigger leap, or Taylor Goad, one of those two. You'd have to think that.
Another reason why Trenbath should be playing at the moment, just on top of a whole stack of others. Like, now, don't tell me Jack Darling's going to be a good pinch hitter in the ruck. He can barely jump over a bloody candlestick at the moment. I don't mean that as a criticism, but the guy's mid-30s. It's not many people have got a big leap after playing 300 games of AFL footy into their mid-30s. But 19-year-olds do. So it's another reason Trenbath needs to play. You're right about Go, though. He's about 211 centimetres, something like that.
Oh, he's not that tall. I think the tallest ever ruckman was Spider Burton, 210. So.
Oh, I've got completely.
Yeah, he's about 206, 207.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've got totally carried away there. But yeah, I'm not panicking about Cherry yet. I mean, he's the least of my worries. I've got plenty of others.
Oh yeah, we've got about 1,000 other.
Did he play last week?
Who's that?
Cherry didn't even play against.
He played. Yeah, he played.
Oh, did he?
He got out-leaped by Max Heath from St Kilda, the guy that came down from St Kilda.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, Max scored. So.
He might be a bit sore after. We'll just say he's a bit sore after the Victorian game. Well, he'll just have to adjust. But look, I agree with you. Worst case scenario, someone like Trenbath would have take the centre bounce and then run down to the forward line and swap positions or something. I don't know. They'll work through that, but that's not our biggest issue. And look, at the end of the day, winning the tap out's not everything.
No,
it never has been. Exactly. So if you've got someone who's out leaping, well, they're just going to have to adjust and change their strategy. He'll play like an extra midfielder, smashing through and clearing a path. He's amazing at that. So. Yes, another positive.
There's plenty of them. There's been a few people coming in the chat. Back shoulder defending said earlier. I see pride, power, and a badass mother who don't take no crap off nobody, and agrees with you, Mark, that rolls up supporters. I can't remember what that was in. I think there was a disconnect between the board and supporters. And at Down Under, I think 3-3 is the bare minimum. Unfortunately, my gut feel is we won't be, and Clarko will be in trouble. Would Adam Simpson be the next option?
It's a good question, isn't it?
Well, it might be something we might be, like as a board, you probably have to consider all options at the moment. But
well, so put it this way. So Matt, depends who takes over the board. So if ex-players and their ex-premiership players, they're probably going to be premiership players from the 90s. That would suggest John Longmire would be a fairly big chance in terms of who they'd want, whether he'd come or not. Completely another matter. Simpson and Longmire would be right at their forefront, you would think. That's if they don't go with a young coach, a more, what's considered
like
a modern
Barlow or something like that.
Yeah, or a modern young coach. There's Kelly at Geelong, for example. Is considered he's meant to be an absolute gun of an operator. And if he's watched Geelong play finals for the last 20 years, he's probably got a rough idea of what's needed. So they might look at someone like that if it came to it. Be very interesting period. Wouldn't be much fun if it comes to that. But yeah, it's a good question to ask about Simpson. I don't know. I don't know whether he'd want to coach again at the top level. Although he's involved at Carlton, isn't he?
I think he is, yeah.
Yeah, he's doing a bit. He's a very smart bloke. He knows what he's doing. Like, if you wanted to trust someone to be able to get up to date with the modern game and what's needed, he'd be someone you definitely would be comfortable with. Same with Longmire, for that matter. But yeah, who knows? I think if there'd be a fair chance, there'd be a lot of pressure to bring one of those two back.
Yeah, look, I like Longmire because it comes with an identity, and it's an offensive identity.
Yes.
I should say. So I kind of like that coach. Adam Simpson, it was similar to North Melbourne the last few years when he was there. So he couldn't get a win at West Coast. That wasn't all his fault. But yeah,
no,
I don't know if I want that at the moment.
I think you're right. I think you're spot on about Longmire, and he will not tolerate a lack of defending. So that probably would be their number one priority in a coach, given how poor that's been for so long.
So, look, hopefully we don't have to worry about that for a long, long time, and hopefully can turn it around. But
yeah, that's right.
We'll have to wait and see. Well, Mark, there was a lot to discuss tonight. There's probably a lot more we could have gone through. Did you want to add anything else before I let you go?
No, I've probably been negative enough for one night. I think let's just look. For all the worry at the moment, it's understandable, and it's certainly understandable how the supporters are feeling. Just all of us are just hoping we've misread things a little bit, and we see something completely different on Sunday. But yeah, they've got a bit of work to do.
Well, we'll definitely talk about Sunday's game next week as well. There'll be plenty to dissect, so hopefully we can get a better performance. We couldn't have got any worse than last week.
No, that's right.
It can only go one way this week, Mark.
Correct. That's true. It can't get it could. It's unlikely. I find that very unlikely. It'll be worse than last week.
No, definitely. But Mark, thanks so much for coming on, mate. There's just someone that's come into the chat last second. Talking of FW Down Under, FM Down Under said, if that's the case, can we bring in a defensive coach? Griffin Lowe can just say goodbye. I can't deal with his piss takes and smiling while we're getting battered.
I know what he's talking about. That. So, for example, he's probably referencing Pagan's speech last year. That was an awful look. I was furious about that.
I think he was smiling at the captain, Josh Hinken, who was also...
I just thought that was appalling. Like, if you know what, if you'd won 20 games, if you're bloody on top of the ladder and stuff, maybe you can find something like that amusing. When you'd been that pathetic, and you got a premiership coach talking to you, I just found that so disrespectful. Anyway, I won't go over that ground again. But I agree. I agree with that person 100%.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming into the chat, everybody. Mark, thanks so much for coming on tonight.
Good on you, Dino. Thanks for having me, mate.
And thank you to all you listeners as well. Don't forget, like, subscribe, tell your friends about the show. I'll be back early next week to review our bounce-back performance against the Pies. Let's hope so anyway.